everyone, it's Maria, and welcome to the Breaking Up with Toxicity podcast. Thank you for being with me today. Each week, I will connect with people as they share relatable life experiences. We will talk about and at times challenge reoccurring unhealthy and toxic patterns that keep you from the changes you want to see as you break these unhealthy cycles. So let's get started and see where this show will take us today. Be sure to listen and don't forget to follow so that you never miss an episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Breaking Up with Toxicity. I'm your host, Maria Shkreli, and today we're stepping into a topic people love to claim as their personal strength. What's that topic? Empathy. It's not the Instagram version, not the inspirational quote version either, not the I'm a good person, so that means I automatically have empathy version. I mean, the real thing, the psychological, nuanced layer system that most people barely even understand. Because here's the secret, most people don't actually have empathy. They have one form of empathy and call it the whole thing. Well, that's not the case. Most people don't know what their empathy style is. And most people don't notice when their empathy is hurting their relationships instead of helping them. And if you've ever said things like, I don't understand, I don't feel understood, my partner comforts me the wrong way, I'm so tired of always being the emotional one, I don't know why people think I'm cold, or things also like, why do we keep arguing about something so simple? In this episode, I'm going to explain what part, or at least half of your relationship problems are about, not just intimate relationships, but with friends and family and colleagues. And if it wasn't already complicated enough, we also have the attachment style. But, I'm not going to hijack empathy right now. I'm not going to twist it, and I'm not going to turn the emotional communication into a maze right now. But I just wanted to mention it. We're going to touch on that briefly at the end, and then that'll be a next episode that I'll go fully into it because that topic deserves its own deep dive. So now, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Let's get into the truth and let's learn about empathy. And moving forward, you will start to see relationships so differently after this episode. Okay, empathy is not simple. Empathy is not a one size fits all, nor is it equally developed in everyone. And empathy absolutely determines how you communicate, how you love, how you fight, and how you receive comfort, and how you make sense of every relationship in your life. So let's begin. Let's break down the three empathies that you never learned, but you desperately really needed to. Society has done a terrible job teaching empathy. So people think empathy means feeling bad for someone, that it means that I'm nice, or it means that I'm sensitive. Actually, none of that is true. What empathy is, it's actually a system with three distinct parts to it. And each one does play a different role in how you relate to others. And these three forms are your cognitive empathy, your emotional empathy, and your compassionate empathy. Think of them as three different emotional muscles, right? So some people overuse one, some people never developed one, some people have one that basically emotionally is paralyzed, okay? And most people don't even know that the other two exist. So we're going to take each one slowly, and I want you to listen for yourself, your partner, your parents, your kids, your exes, your friends, whoever it is, because the moment you identify which type they use, everything is going to make sense. So we're going to start with the first one, cognitive empathy. I understand you, but I don't feel you. Okay. This is the most misunderstood empathy out of the three. Cognitive empathy is based on logic, observation, and emotional analysis. It's not emotional experience. So people with cognitive empathy, they can read situations, they can study patterns, they can analyze emotions, they can even anticipate reactions, and they understand what you're feeling intellectually. But they don't feel your emotions inside their own bodies. I'm going to repeat that. But they don't feel your emotions inside their own body. These are the people who comfort with, okay, I understand you're upset. So here's what we're going to do. To them, this feels so helpful. To you, it might feel dismissive or cold, especially if you're more emotional. You'll find cognitive empathy in people who have avoidant attachment styles, people who are raised in emotional distant homes, people who survive through a lot of emotional detachment, high achievers, problem solvers, and people who are just very logical, structured, and are analytical. So here's the thing: cognitive empathy is not cold. These people do care deeply, but their love comes through as fixing, solving, analyzing, strategizing, and protecting through their logic. So, cognitive empathy is a mind without a heart, and it's helpful until it's actually not. Okay, number two, emotional empathy. I feel what you feel. This is the deep feeler's empathy. It's the full body empathy, the one that makes you absorb other people's emotions like a sponge, actually. So, emotional empaths, they cry when someone else cries. They get anxious when someone is anxious. They feel heaviness in their chest when a loved one is hurting. They also get overwhelmed easily, and they internalize emotions that aren't theirs. So, they take on other people's emotions. People with emotional empathy often grew up in very hyper vigilant homes, in chaotic homes, in unpredictable environments. They could have been parentified, and they were responsible for others' emotional states. So, what they learned is I have to feel everything so I know what's coming next. And now, as adults, what happens is they feel everything, they lose their boundaries. They merge with other people emotionally. So they do tend to carry guilt that isn't actually theirs. They can feel exhausted or drained because of this. And they mistake intensity for connection. Emotional empathy, it is a beautiful thing. It's connective, it's compassionate, but it also can be very overwhelming, destabilizing. It can be codependent, it can be heavy, and it can be exhausting. So with this one, it's a heart without a direction. Now here's the third one: compassionate empathy. I understand you, I feel you, and I'm here to support you. This is the golden empathy. This is the balanced one, the regulated one. This is the adult version of empathy. So, this is the compassionate empathy that blends. It's the understanding of cognitive empathy, the emotional resonance of emotional empathy, and it's grounded, it's steady action. So, this looks like I'm here. Okay. I hear you. You're not alone. Let's figure this out together. So, people with compassionate empathy can sit with pain without actually absorbing it. They can stay steady instead of panicking. They stay soft instead of shutting down, and they can validate and guide. So they don't hold space without losing themselves in the other person's situations. This often develops in secure childhoods, households where emotions were modeled healthy, where people have done a lot of intense personal work, and that includes through therapy, and intentional emotional regulation that occurs here. So, compassionate empathy is heart with a backbone. It's the hardest one to develop, but the easiest one to love. So, most people think that they have all three. Well, guess what? Most people have one dominant empathy, one weaker one, and one is missing completely in its entirety. That's why we have relationships that go wrong, conflicts that escalate, people that feel misunderstood, comfort that actually feels wrong most of the time, arguments feel so personal, emotional needs go unmet. It's not that people don't care, it's that they care in the wrong language. Yes, it's the wrong language. When your empathy style is shaped by your childhood, your emotional modeling, your attachment, your personality, your safety, and if there's trauma, and then just the way you're wired, your nervous system. So if your emotions were unsafe, your emotional empathy shuts down. If your emotions were chaotic, your emotional empathy actually explodes. And then if your emotions were dismissed, your cognitive empathy develops. And if emotions were modeled, your compassionate empathy grows. So empathy is learned, one, empathy is conditioned, two, and empathy is shaped. So you were trained, not born into your empathy style. And so were the people that you love. This is why empathy mix matches and hurts so much at times, because they make you feel unloved when you're just emotionally speaking at different dialects of the same language. That's what's going on, and that's what's misunderstood so often. Now I'm going to go into a little bit deeper into the reality of how these empathy types collide in everyday life. So these are extended. There are some examples so that you can try to relate or may resonate. So let's take scenario one. This is the partner who confronts wrong. Let's say you're crying, you feel raw, you want a big hug, right? You want this quiet moment, someone just to sit in the darkness with you. Your partner walks in and immediately becomes a project manager. Okay, what happened? What do we do next? How do we fix this? You feel alone, even though somebody's standing right there. They feel helpful and confused as to why are you upset with me? Why are you upset at them now? This is not incompatibility. What this is you needed emotional empathy. They offered you cognitive empathy. So what happened here is a mismatch. It's not malice. Here's scenario number two. This is a parent who panics. Your child tells you something upsetting. You respond with fear, right? You failed a class. Why didn't you tell me? What were you thinking? You think you're caring. Your child thinks they made a mistake telling you. Your emotional empathy swallowed the moment. They needed compassionate empathy, grounded, calm, stabilizing. This is why kids stop telling parents. They don't want to be responsible for your emotional reactions. That's what's going on here. Now, scenario three. This is the fix it friend. We all have one. You share something really heavy with someone. They immediately say, okay, here's what you should do. You feel unheard. They think they gave you a gift, right? Their empathy language solutions, yours is connection. Everyone walks away frustrated thinking the other person doesn't get it. They didn't hear me, I'm misunderstood. Scenario four, the shutdown partner. So you're emotional, you're very expressive, you're crying over venting, or let's just say you're unraveling. The other person freezes. They go blank. They say nothing. They look emotionally actually disconnected. And what happens is you feel unloved, but in reality, their body is overwhelmed. Their emotional empathy shut down. Their cognitive empathy kicks in. Their nervous system is going in survival mode. They're not abandoning you. They're shutting down to figure out and how to cope. That's what's going on here. Here's another scenario for you. This is the talker versus the thinker. One of you processes emotions out loud, right? The other processes internally, okay? The talker feels ignored, the thinker feels cornered. The talker wants emotional empathy, the thinker gives cognitive empathy. You're not incompatible. You are out of sync. Remember that. Now, the last empathy scenario. This is the action based friend. So let's say you're sad, you're grieving, and you're even overwhelmed. They don't sit and cry with you, but they show up your door with food in hand, ready to help you. This is compassionate empathy of what's going on. It's not an emotional expression, it's support in action. You wanted emotional empathy, they offered you compassionate empathy. Again, it's a mismatch, it's not neglect. Well, hopefully, this has helped some of you and many of you. Now, here's the sneak peek. Just when you hopefully started to understand when empathy starts making sense, now that I've explained this to you, attachment styles determine how you give empathy, how you receive it, what overwhelms you, what feels comforting, what actually also feels suffocating, what feels cold, and even what feels like love. This is where it starts to get very complicated. So, avoidance usually equal cognitive empathy. Anxious usually equals emotional empathy. Secure equals compassionate empathy. And disorganized, that is like all over the map. It's all over the place. This crossover is why relationships can feel so hard and so misunderstood and so complicated. And it's not because people don't love each other, but because they are loving the wrong emotional language. That's what's going on. So trust me on this one. You don't want to miss the next episode when empathy meets attachment, why you misread people even when you think you understand them. Thank you for listening to the episode of Breaking Up with Toxicity. Today we untangled one of the biggest myths in emotional communication. The myth that empathy is simple, universal, or even automatic. It's not. It's shaped, it's uneven, it's learned, and it's often mismatched. Once you understand your empathy style and the empathy style of the people in your life, You finally see the emotional patterns that were invisible before. You stop personalizing everything. You stop assuming people are cold, dramatic, insensitive, or even uncaring. And you start understanding the emotional languages that they are speaking. I'm Maria Shkreli, and I'll see you in the next episode when we dive into the powerful, messy intersection of empathy and attachment, where so many relationships get stuck, misunderstood, even when the love is real.